All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first official live stream on this new channel, The Digital Third. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the inception of this new initiative that I'm launching. Very nervous, but you know what? I just decided to get this live stream up and running before I'm ready. That's kind of the name of the game. You could always wait forever. And I have been thinking about this for months, maybe actually even years. So we're just going to share a little bit about that. And then we're going to go over the branding process. So we're in the middle of the brand and it's not even completed. So why is this stream important? Well, I think it's not often that you get to see a branding process for free. And it's even more rare to see it live while it's still in progress. So, this is an experimental series. It's called Brand in Progress. And who knows how many episodes there will be. Today, we're going to focus on the logo mark. And maybe the next episode will be maybe like a stylescape. And then the next will be the landing page. Who knows? But we're just going to document this live. And so it's unscripted, it's raw, it's live. And for those joining live, you have to be part of the process, giving us feedback. Asking questions. There will open up for Q&A at the end. Right now, there are 2 watching, and it's probably my guest. So it's all good. So this is just the first thing. So who is this for? It's for those who want to learn more about branding and also who are interested in learning more about the new initiative, The Digital Third, which I'll share more about later. So with me on today's stream, they are 2 very good friends of mine, some of which you may already know if you are a fan of the RDL. We have Eric Odom, the first player to have stepped into the Figma arena in the Reloom Design League. Not only is he a badass designer, but the most articulate commentator and co-host in the RDL. He's also smashing the freelance game since starting early this year. And he's been collaborating with amazing designers, including Brandon Herbel from Bones Code Agency. And so also we have him on the stream as well. So Brandon has competed in 2 RDL matches. He's proven his skills time and time again. He's done one of my favorite themes, the sneaker brutalist style, and then the other second match is the neobank one. So check it out in the RDL or in the Reloom YouTube channel. So, all right, without further ado, give it up for Eric and Brandon.
What up?
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Man, it's been a while doing a stream. It's a little rusty, but it is so good to have you guys kick off. And essentially, for those who don't know, I brought on Eric and Brandon to help me with the branding. They are the dream team. And so, Eric and Brandon, how about you guys just say hi? I don't know if you want to share more of what you guys are doing now, but we'll start with you, Eric.
Yeah, what's up? It's great to be on a live stream and working again. We've done the RDL and we've done a few things with some other people in the community and had a lot of fun. So it's great to have the brief up front. Something I've learned through this whole process is I falter if we go live and then you're giving me the brief and I need to, pay attention and hear the brief and think creatively. It's too much for me. So I appreciate that we've done a lot of legwork up front and can do this. And then the other thing I'll say is we really don't know what we're doing. We're just figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
So let's just have some fun.
Nice. Brandon, how about you, sir?
Yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of this journey, and I think it'll be something that we'll all look back at in a couple years and be blown away at what you've done with the Digital Third, and the behind the scenes side of it is such a unique aspect that it'll be excited to see what we come up with and just kind of how it all unfolds. But I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, really grateful. Or at the end, it could just be a big flop and we'll just laugh at this stream. But that's how it goes. Okay, so today's stream, the agenda, it's kind of like a working session and you guys will just watch and go through our process. I'm basically the client. And so I'm going to be asking specific questions, Eric and Brandon, but at the same time, we're collaborating as designers. So it'll be really unique. I'll share a bit about the Digital Third. Essentially, I won't give up too much. It's a multi-phase master plan, but it's a design community. It's something unique. Obviously, we've experimented with Reloom Design League, and yeah, we're gonna like explore certain things there. But first and foremost, it's a community for designers. The name Digital Third. Let's just switch over here. Give me a sec. Where should I? I'll start with this. And Eric and Brandon, while I'm sharing, because you guys have heard this many, many times, you guys can just keep playing with the file, I guess. All right. So this is like my rough branding. So again, this is work in progress. I haven't organized it and kept it clean for you guys. But essentially, the digital third, the name, I want to create a third space. And so the first space, there you go. Spaces in between. This is kind of one. The first space is our home, right? And Starbucks basically calls themselves a third space. And the second space is work. And so the third is something in between where community and people hang out and interact and collaborate. That's where it happens. So it can be a library, a public space, hangout, a church. And so I want to create a digital third space. Also, I want to promote this new thing called a third place mentality. I won't go much into it, but if you are like in the Olympics, the first place gets the gold. Second place, statistically, they have been more depressed because they are just shy of being first place. But being third, you're kind of just grateful to be there, and you're humble, and it makes you want to just pick yourself up and train and do better. And I think just it's a place of being humble. You're grateful for being there. And at the same time, like it's not like you're the worst. You're like third out of everyone. So there's that. And then also third culture. I think you can Google it. I won't go into detail again, but like I want to kind of create a third culture. It's a place where people, they're in between cultures, can fit in. And so it's a place of belonging. And yeah, that's essentially it. So some values here. Again, I've done a little bit more in-depth branding, like digging, and I won't share too much on here, but I'll just share just high-level stuff. So brand attributes, again, this is all work in progress, but some values, some brand values I want to create is like taking traditional principles and setting it in modern form. I want this space to be a collaborative space and determine, okay, that's kind of like hard to translate, so I'll just skip that. Values, grit, gratitude, generosity, right? All these will kind of make sense, and I'm still externally processing this whole process too, of how to incorporate this into the whole brand. Mindset, I am third, being humble, grateful, and ultimately we just want to foster the journey, right? The stage and development of who we are. We have an ideal place of where we want to be, and we are, and here we are today. So what does the in-between look like? And so we want to foster this type of like leveling up growth in this community. Okay, so, and out of that, these are kind of like my filters. Then I, excuse me, organize it into image buckets, into color, topography, layouts, textures, web elements, things like that, photography, logos. And that's how like my initial exploration, that's how I do it. Storefronts, just things that kind of vibe with me. And so this is kind of what I did initially. I'm really digging these colors because I just love, just the whole gamut of the spectrum. This was a fun, cool clothing company that I just imagined for fun. It's called Unkies. It's bringing modern style to the Asian uncle. So anyways, I was playing with these colors, and this is the one that kind of stuck with me. So I showed this to Brandon, and he really vibed with it. So that's what we're gonna use for color. I was really liking this minimal white space, this gray background, and also using these like small specks of highlight colors. So that's what we're gonna explore, like white generic background color with a speck of the accent color, just like that. So this is just some fonts that I was exploring, and then I'm really digging like these grid layouts, brutalist, large, big type. So that's that. I won't dig more into it, but this is really, guys. Should I really explain? Should I explain a bit about the waves and spaces?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so oh, there's a little sneak peek. Um, this is more of like philosophical brand elements. So I've kind of played with this concept of waves and spaces. So waves basically are like sound and light, right? And so they're frequency waves. And basically it's the vibe that created by sound and light that transforms the space it fills. So won't go to all this stuff, but essentially, when you listen to music, it transports you to a different space. And so maybe can we do that digitally, or it takes you to a spiritual space. So getting very metaphysical here, and the concept of light has been used in exploring metaphysical, philosophical topics around nature of reality and things like that. So I just kind of like something really deep. And then spaces, it's really the physical or conceptual area that contains realms of thought, ideas, possibilities. So it can be represented as a domain, a sphere, a dimension that's set by a set of conditions, principles, or rules. So again, what does a digital space look like? And then play. I really want to emphasize this whole thing on play. It's the interaction between waves, which is light and sound, and spaces. So again, light to me in this context would be the design, like the designs on the Figma canvas. Sound is like you're listening to right now. It's just always a good time with a good beat, and so I always want to like bring that into the DNA of this brand. And then spaces, one of my truths that I've always brought with me is people are a function of their environment. And so if you create a good environment and a healthy environment, you create good people. So with that, this is what Brandon has put together. So yeah, Brandon, maybe we'll just follow you and you can kind of share your early thoughts with the sketches and all that stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, I'd seen the board that you just shared, the brand attributes and kind of all the inspiration and mood boards and thought process that you had over. I think you shared it with me like a month ago, and then it was a little more refined, and we talked about a week ago. And yeah, the color palette and color coordinating thing was really something that stuck out to me. And then the most recent time before we actually like kicked this off was that prism. And then also like kind of like a no-brainer, but the whole like using threes or thirds and the three shapes, the pyramid, we talked about Adidas, we talked about Black Flag is 4, but we've talked about like some of those iconic logos that we've seen just using like very minimal shapes. And so yeah, from there I had just started working on the sketches, thinking of using that line in between the common space with the prism and just utilizing that in the various shapes. You had chose the 4, like as you see in the sketches, you had picked out a few that you'd liked, but before you realized, I had went ahead and done like 60 variations just because I couldn't get it out of my head.
Nice.
And then I just started doing these while you were talking, the last few.
Oh, crazy.
But yeah, there was just something there that was like sticking out to me with the stark black bars or circles, just like those shapes with the prism and incorporated it or on top of it, or just that. I was just like, I really haven't seen that before, and I felt like it encompassed everything you had shown, from inspiration to the meaning behind the brand and the concept. And I couldn't stop.
Yeah,
but
so good.
Yeah, I can go through like any of these more specifically, but my process is essentially just starting one board and then duplicating and kind of keeping like just iterating further on it. And
gotcha.
Did that with all the logos, and then the same thing with the typeface. Just started. You had mentioned went back and forth, like, do we keep the in it? Do we take it out? And decided to keep it in, but so then just kind of did some variations of left align, centered and just like the full
width.
typed out. Yep.
Gotcha.
I'll stop there
cool.
because I can keep going. But yeah, if there's anything else you or Eric want to add, feel free.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you, Eric. Like, you came in and Brandon was just machine gunning all these different variations. So,
Yeah, I mean, in the most polite way I can say, Brandon made me feel incredibly inadequate going into this project. And sometimes that happens, and I mean that in like the best way possible, because y'all had a lot of conversations, very deep conversations about the brand, and he left those conversations incredibly inspired. And Josh, I know you and I woke up numerous times in the mornings and would just see Slack messages of I did this and I did this and I did this, and there's some stuff in there I haven't shared yet. So I kind of just took the approach of Brandon feels super inspired, let him run at it, and then take the feedback from you, Josh, because I didn't have a whole lot. And sometimes when you're in a creative, funk mentally, you can't get that flow state to do like what Brandon was doing. So my approach was to sit back, let him work, watch the feedback we were getting from you. And then when we met, I guess last week, get that feedback, or earlier this week, I don't remember, and go from there. And with that, I think we've kind of narrowed in some directions that we like, even though we're still exploring other things. When I started jumping in, my first step was to look at the typography and take the notes that we got from you, and then see if I could find some type that would align with the brand attributes and some of the values. A conversation we had behind the scenes was how much we're all attached to some of these aesthetics and the properties of the typography that we've explored, and how it was going to come down to, we're going to have to find something that really matches the brand you want to put forward and the characteristics of it. So I tried to go dig into some options there, and then just start putting it to use. And I'll kind of stop there. I won't go too far into the process, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you added, you worked a bit on typography.
Yeah.
Right?
So I did, I think 10, 12 options that were, some of them were similar to Brandon's approach, because I had the benefit of getting all the notes back. Right. Brandon got to start from scratch. And so, two different approaches, but tried to find some that kind of fit in with the vibes from the characteristics that we had talked about before. And then trying something new. There's the serif look that's got that classical but modern, somewhat trendy approach, but maybe using a font a lot of people aren't familiar with. And you see that a couple times, taking different approaches with a different type of serif, a little bit more blocky. But just kind of playing around and having fun and see where it go.
Sweet. Okay. Now, thanks. I think that was the official introduction. That's out of the way now. Let's grind. Man, I love this. I did this something similar for a brand, like a real estate brand, and I just love this archway with the staircase. That's really cool. So today we are gonna work on the logo mark. I don't know if we can. Do you guys think it's possible to have a final direction here, or we just picked one and we just need to refine it even more? And
I think anything's possible. Josh, what do you want us to do?
I would
say that's up to you.
That'd be a great goal, I think, if we can. But I can already see some improvements. So before we hit on, I just want to acknowledge you, Eric, because I know you have a crazy schedule and you got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So thank you for coming on, and with 4 kids and summer camp or summer school, it's nuts. So I really appreciate you guys. Give Eric a follow. He's got some good updates. So
I appreciate the patience, not just from you, but from anyone I'm working with. Like you touched on earlier, freelance is a new thing for me. The last time I did it, it was just me, and now there's a whole family to provide for. So I'm having lots of fun, and I'm very grateful for anyone I've been able to collaborate with, and I appreciate the patience of everyone letting me find my flow states. Sometimes they come, in hour chunks in the middle of the day, and sometimes they're just, they are what they are. But having lots of fun and grateful to work on a project like this with so much done ahead of time before Brandon and I even came in. That's very much appreciated. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me what are your thoughts behind this? These explorations. Or
Brandon.
or should I just give feedback? I don't know. How do you wanna share me your thoughts?
Yeah. Do we want to? I can go first. We can let Brandon go his. I mean, I know we're kind of in a weird spot because the three of us have had some conversations off stream and gotten feedback. So it'd be kind of a little repetitive for Brandon to give his pitch again, but I can definitely jump into mine too. So
yeah, let's just jump into it.
Okay, cool. So I just started playing, like I said, with the typography. I felt really inspired by the whole spectrum talk, and my mind immediately went to the hologram plasticky approach. So I just started playing with elements of that. Through our conversations, we really kind of started digging in on this circle with the bar through it, and in different ways that could be implemented. Again, I had the benefit of listening to some of the feedback from Brandon's exploration and kind of digging this color spectrum bar above and I just kind of flipped it and was like, what if we emphasize digital third instead? I'm not partial on any of these. I was just fun exploration to see, typography. How does this work? How do these elements pair together? Taking on some of the feedback you had given us from your brand attributes exploration. Sometimes we hit this kind of athletic vibe, this sport vibe, and so I just leaned really heavily into design gym, which is something you hadn't touched on too much, and I won't spill too many beans about that one. But there's the digital third brand, and then there's all these things happening within it, and I like the idea of trying to explore, different ways to do it. And so I kind of leaned into what a design gym, poster look like with some of these elements, and taking some of the feedback we got, and I let's go hard on some sport motion, fast paced, and adjust some of the marks that we had already. And then similar over here, kind of went back to the circle with the bar, a little bit more traditional, digital third serif. And pulling some kind of fun typography over here, finding a new way to incorporate the spectrum over that. And I don't know, I kept hearing while I was working on this particular one, Aaron Draplin and craft. He's got a really good talk on mastering your craft, especially anything in print, and how important it is that, if you're going to deliver something to someone, your craft has to be the best it possibly can, and it should be ready to go out the door without any tweaks. And I was hearing that, and I immediately went into, I'll just do a print aesthetic. So there's crop marks and alignment marks and a little color spectrum bar down here. And it was just a fun, let's go in this direction and see what happens. And that's some of my favorite time in brand exploration, because you've got these elements over here of the mark and the word mark, and combine them into a lockup, and then let's do a piece of key art that would establish the direction. And you can do kind of more crazier things. And sometimes you do things knowing they won't work, but you do them anyway just to see them and get them out of your head. So that was kind of this. I don't know if this works for what you had in mind, but it was in my head, and let's put it on digital paper and see what comes from it.
I love this. This is so nice. And this lockup is really nice. Along with this font, and I love how you shorten the spectrum bars. It's clean. It kind of reminds me of it's leaving me. My memory's so bad these days. Is this Daft Punk, like the Daft Punk?
Oh yeah,
dude with the visor and stuff.
I didn't even see that, but I get it now.
Yeah. But that's nice.
And that's me. What was that?
Go ahead.
I would say, there wasn't the benefit of getting to see me do these lockups here, but when I work on stuff like this, it's not fine math, but there are tons of boxes, and so I started with the color spectrum and how tall was that?
Oh yeah.
Let's narrow it in and make it the same width as the letter forms, and then all the spacing between here are increments of the width of these bars and the letters, and if you extended this T over the top of this. So like sometimes that's a waste. Sometimes I spend hours trying to get these things to look just right when they don't get used, but it's part of my process and how my brain works. And I like to get things aligned. And yes, if anyone who's watching and is looking over in the left-hand side, I name my layers too. So come at me. It is what it is.
Oh. Nice.
But yeah.
That's all. And do you go in this detail at this stage in exploration? Like the heights.
Typically, yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not the most efficient way to do it. Like I am
Right.
open about that and honest. Everyone has their own approach, and that's just the way I approach it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the process of working with different people and how many people have access to files sometimes. And sometimes people just jump in and grab something and run with it. So in that case, Josh, if you were to jump in tomorrow and you really like something and you were to grab something from one of these boards, my hope is that you wouldn't have to do too much more work on it. You could just run with it. So
yeah.
Eric's boards.
Nice.
I don't name my layers.
Brandon, yeah, it looked like you updated this a little bit.
Yeah, the example I'd shown, it wasn't really true to size, so I thought it would be good to show some examples of it a little more true to size.
Okay.
But so yeah, shows you kind of on like the land of Instagram on the profile, but then also like in a story, so we can see it somewhat normal size and then really small. We had talked about like where it might lose some detail when it's small, so that's something important to be thinking about when we decide on which one to go with or how to utilize it. Yeah, I mean, I think the other interesting thing about this process too that we typically don't do is when you do a brand, you do all of this work and go through this exploration, but you kind of have that big reveal and you kind of refine those 2 or 3 that you actually show. So Eric and I did this on another branding project too, and I think it just depends on the client. Sometimes it can maybe be too much and too overwhelming, and then they don't even know where to start. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an exciting thing to test out and see if like just showing you the entire, how many are we at? Probably like 60 options of icons that I've created. So like, what do you think? Is there one out of this? Probably, but yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
I would be interested to hear your thoughts on that. Like, has it been like too overwhelming or
no? This
like
is
there's
great.
too much. Okay.
I love
that.
it.
That's helpful for us to know because we've gone back and forth on like how much do we show in this process and get feedback on. Because in your case, it's working wonderfully. And in other cases, it's overwhelming and they don't know where to begin. So
Kenneth, Scott, John, welcome. And the rest of you guys watching, welcome. Kenneth is saying, any triangle ones? Yeah, here's like the initial. So I wasn't vibing too much with the triangle. What's that? Is it motion school or something like that? What's that?
Yeah, School of Motion.
School of Motion. Yeah, they have that. And this just kind of reminds me of that, which I just kind of don't want to play with that. I was vibing with the circles and then after that, the squares, but I was really liking these, like the 3, the bands. And so particularly like more horizontal layouts. So yeah, what do you guys think about these ones? So like we said, these 2 were like, I liked it. It was just simplicity of that. I was talking to Benton earlier today. He thought this was cool, actually. He did prefer this, but see, the thing about the logo, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've been taught is you don't want to explain too much in the logo. It should just be more of a recognizable mark, right? And so the 3 is already like, and the D, it's just kind of speaking of the actual name itself. So although I like it, it may be doing too much of that. So that's why I'm kind of leaning more towards the circle and band. And like, this is cool too. But I think, again, like if we were to create sub brands with it, just using these simple geometric shapes, I'm still kind of leaning towards the circle and band here, because you can use those to create other other marks, like multiplying it, and it creates the 3 bars here or something. And then what I was thinking, I think we touched on this before, I think like the main recognizable element for this is actually the prism. So regardless of how many different shapes it turns out, it's really the colors that are recognizable. So I would almost say that's like the key brand element for now. And then secondary to that is like the rectangle, which can shape into anything, or a square, and then the circle. So yeah, sorry, triangle, you got the cut. But yeah, I don't know, guys, like what's your normal process? Is because obviously we went divergent, and Brandon is amazing at that. Like I can't think that way. I would just like stick in one and go just, make a variety on just the one type. But are we at the point, like I've shared with you guys what I like, do we just take those and then expand on that, or do we keep exploring? What's your typical process at this point?
I feel like the big question is, with the 2 that we've talked and like pulled out, are those 2 that you feel like an emotional reaction to? Like that is it? Like do you feel good about it, and it's just more of a refining and breaking it out into more of the telling the story and just the system that we've been talking about? Or do you feel like, I don't know. To me, I had some like that's it moments while I was working on some of these, but I mean, just interesting to hear your side of it.
I want to hear what are these the that's it moments. For me, I think what's gonna help me with the decision is the story that fits. And so like after sharing this and how where is it? Like this bar can turn into a wave, and then the space is like the circle. Like that made sense. But maybe what were you saying? You fit the logo into the story, or the other way around. So
I mean, I think that you can. I mean, a lot of these were taken from the stuff that we had talked about and some of the exploration and just mood boards that you had shared with me anyways. So like that part of the story is there, but to really like create like the system until like the full like into the brand guidelines and how we're going to utilize it, and then also to like Eric's point the other day when we were talking, but making sure that it does look good small, and doing variations for different use cases and things like that. That's more of like trying to not retrofit it, but just like making sure that it does work and it doesn't totally like blow up. I think one of the things that we were kind of also talking about too is we were just doing black and the prism. Right. Now let's like try it with white. Like what's it going to look like with white? Because you just want to be able to like make sure it's going to look good with those 2 primary backgrounds that it's probably going to be on. And I think the 2 that we did kind of narrow down works with black and white. So
my process usually goes like what we're following now, where there's the divergent, like let's put as many ideas as we possibly can on a sheet of paper in a presentation and go through and start picking things that either work or don't work. Like let's either eliminate a bunch, or if there's some that jump out, which is kind of how this process went, let's take those and start exploring them. And sometimes that exploration becomes fine-tuning those things, and sometimes it's like let's flip that, and what does it look like inverted or smaller, and we start changing things. And I pulled this from another presentation I've done, but these are kind of like the 5 things of when I'm giving a client a pitch on what their logo is supposed to be. This is it. Your logo is the visual representation of your brand, making our goal to be to create a logo that is this. It's simple, it's relevant, it's memorable, it's timeless, and it's versatile. Sometimes you can't hit all 5 of those, but if you can, like that's the goal. And so I think we're actually pretty close if we're like looking at these. Simple is nailed, and all the concepts that are there. memorable, relevant, timeless, versatile. We're getting close, and that's where we want to try and land.
Yeah. Timeless focuses the brand's core into a visual that never felt dated.
Yeah.
Versatile, legibility. Yeah, right. So I'm actually this versatility. I would like to hammer that out. It's more like, is it functional and does it pass the stress tests on the different contexts and stuff, scalability, all that stuff.
Yeah. And something we had talked about in our previous conversations was because we've got these kind of more simple, timeless elements, is that a consideration to keep in mind is what these things look like in movement and other digital places. And so there's a lot of fun we can have here. And I liked what you said earlier, Josh, of right now our kind of core visual may not so much be a mark or a word mark or a logo lockup, but this color spectrum. And that's fun to explore. And if we know like this color spectrum is what we're going to keep, and we just want to start iterating on different versions of a circle with a bar and vertical or horizontal bars with the spectrum through it, like let's start taking those and seeing what comes from it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I want to give feedback. I like this. This actually reminds me of an old brand I did. Collab Collective, which is 2 parallel bars. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this. The font, yeah, it matches. I don't know where to go from here. I think, yeah, let's maybe put it through the ringer, like these lockups, and see how it translates. So
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we've landed on is maybe there's 3 or 4 things that we like. We like this circle with the spectrum through it.
Yeah.
We like the D with the 3 with the spectrum through it. We like vertical bars with the spectrum through it. And then we haven't put it in practice yet, but you've mentioned it a couple times, horizontal bars with the vertical spectrum through it.
Yes.
So we kind of have 4 key elements that we can explore and iterate on further. And Brandon, I think he started doing that. I saw a glimpse of it. Like I would count the circle with the rounded spectrum. That's iterating on something we've already got. Same with, these 2. These are all just taking the things you like and further exploring what they look like and how they may work.
Yeah, this looks like a dude, with the visor.
Oh, it totally does.
So I don't know.
I mean, I keep going back to, and I pulled it in here just for purposes of just chatting through all this, but over here to the far left, like the journey in this, like you had asked, like you wanted to hear about the aha moments, and I felt like the circle with the spectrum in the center of it, it encompassed this like entire process or thought process behind Digital Third. So while it's simple, I think that the 5 points that Eric posted, like it does all of that. The one that maybe it doesn't is timeless. But I think that's like, when I think timeless, I think something a little more like paying like homage to something or like old school stuff when I think of timeless, even though that, that's not the case. This is like a little more futuristic, but I definitely think it'll hold like, it'll hold up.
Yeah. That's why I think, and I honestly, I'm going to be, unlike most clients, and I'm going to be very detached as possible. And I think if we just pick a one that's simple, and again, most likely just the versatility, it scales well, all that functions well, then like, let's just make it work, to be honest. As much as I already like shared all the deep abstract meaning, like I just want to get to work with it. So with that,
I think this was the other one, because we had mentioned the waves.
Yeah.
And so whether it's one or the other, or we somehow utilize the 2 in a way, like, I don't know. But I thought those were the 2 aha moments. I felt like it encompassed everything you had talked about in the last like few times that we had met over this, that I was like, I think that's it. But See, that's my opinion. I mean, depending what you think though.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just going to this page here. Like, I don't know, man. These bands just look. It's bold. It's nice. It's really cool. But again, maybe that could be for the other sub brand, right? Which I won't. Yeah, which Eric.
But yeah,
already
it's a
kinda
conversation to have
shared.
off the stream. But yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, it's nice. It's just it's really it's cool. I feel like it could be a tattoo or something, or you can
and
put it
you know
on a
it
hat.
may it may not be the typical, the brand that we're all taught, either formally or informally while watching YouTube videos of how to go about developing a brand, but
Yeah.
we can land on the key element and the identity of this brand is the spectrum,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
the digital third brand and the sub brands or items that are within it can be exhibited in these other things, the circle, the wave line, the blocks.
Yeah.
um, as long as the spectrum's present, that ties the
Yeah.
shapes together, and that says digital third.
Yeah. Like I even this wave, if we do a podcast or something, we can incorporate this in it somehow, like airwaves.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe that's it, and we could just keep it as simple as this. But so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I'm okay if we do that, and then we just do variations of it with the heights and thickness of the spectrum bar, and the proportions of it to the circle. Yeah, which that's what Brandon's doing here. He's just exploring different types here, because taking the band or the bar and then transforming it into the wave, that's like an animation thing, so it doesn't really need to be represented in the mark itself. So maybe simple is better, right? And then because we're in Webflow, we're in the animation world of animation and stuff too, like let that be expressed through animation, and so keeping it simple is just might be the best. Yeah, I mean, they're awesome. They're all great. So cool. Yeah, so that's my thought. So maybe we'll just
I think we just continue toying with variations of the ones that we've kind of landed on that represent digital third and the aha moments that we've had. And something else we can look at is what does a word mark look like? When we start pairing this with typography, because there is going to be a website, and other parts of this is what is the word mark for the digital third. So when we start pairing these elements that we like over here with typography, what jumps out? Because then we can swap, for example, put digital third there and there, and like what works in all these cases, and that's kind of the fun exploration. So
okay, yeah. So okay, I'm
kind of
getting
jamming,
this.
so I can't see it. Is there anyone else on the stream? Like I see some people giving a little bit of feedback, but just wondering, like, yeah, if anyone else has got any opinion.
Okay,
Kenneth jumped in and
Kenneth.
said that the spectrum is chef's kiss. Like he can totally see it being applied on any sub brands pretty easily. So
Thanks, Kenneth. Cool.
I like that. Oh, Damien, what's up, man?
Yo, Damien. This is the pro. The champ is here. All right, Damien. Maybe you can even join the stream if you want. What do you think? What do you think of basically, to me, and I shared with you in Slack, like, oh, right. So Damien thinks he likes, where is it? I think he said he liked this one.
The evil Squircle?
Yeah, the evil Squircle. I'm curious what was his thoughts behind that. But yeah, Damien, I'm thinking of just keeping it simple and just like using basic geometric shapes, and then from that, how the Realoom brand like transform every time you guys release crazy products. It's just it's a different logo, right? But it's got the orange and purple, so something like that. So Okay, so I think, yeah, we can keep exploring with that logo. Is this, and then and now do we pick uh, a typeface that matches that? I guess
Yeah,
that's the
I
next
think
thing.
we start seeing, what resonates. Can we come across an aha moment when we start pairing typography with these little lockups of
Yeah,
marks?
maybe let's just, I don't know. I'm just gonna grab it and copy and paste now. Maybe less talking and more experimenting at this point. Let me try this. Where is it? I'm liking like thick type or fonts just because, again, it's like the thin one's nice, but again, it's not as scalable, or you can't really see it from far away. Yeah, that's not cool. I kind of like your version, Eric. It's a little, this, not as wide. Yeah, this one here.
Yeah, and that's where I think start pairing with the typography and where my exploration went. Again, I had that benefit of getting to see um, all the divergent thinking up front and getting feedback based on that. And so um, my exploration over on the right side with those elements is taking what I knew we had already said worked through some of these moments and then adjusting based on the typography used, which is why there's one that's slanted and has more movement associated with it,
Right.
even though it's currently still, and why the other one has a shorter bar because it paired nicer with that typography. So
Okay, so I'll just straight up feedback. I'm not feeling this with the, what is this called, like bar serifs or something.
yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
the technical term now that we're on the stream, but
Yeah.
good to know. That can easily go.
This is okay. I like this. And what type is this? This is Fester. Oh, okay, interesting. So it's got that like Futura condense vibe, which I like. So this is cool, but yeah, the italicize, it's like cool for like a one use, but it didn't seem to be that flexible. Yeah, this is a totally different vibe. As much as I love it, and I don't feel like it's really fitting in the brand. This is good. Again, it's got that condense feel, and it's bold, so that's nice. It's modern. This was cool. So yeah, maybe I do like condense. That's like what I'm really like. I'm just liking. Obviously, this is very close to what I was using. Tobias. Yeah. But I don't know if it's going to, I don't know, pair well with like this thick. I don't know. Yes, maybe it's too thin. So yeah, this, like, it's cool, but it doesn't match. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And then, so yeah, I think bold. This was cool, like that Nike vibe.
That one's probably my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. And so, what do you think of that? Like, it's Eric. You said it's the most widely used font, but I don't want to like.
It's definitely
Of
one of
course,
them. Yeah.
It's good for a reason because, yeah, it just works well. But then, do I want to be associated to Nike? Like, is that? Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the hard part of, we go back to like those kind of 5 elements we're trying to hit and the timelessness of it.
Yeah.
There's the things that we're reminded of already, like that really condensed future and Nike using it. the regular non-condensed version is like Aaron Droplin's go-to, and everything you see him use, he uses Futura. And then there's the other side of it, of when we look at like trends. And right now, I would say kind of the lighter weight, nostalgic serif is trendy. We like that, but will it hold up in a year or two when the trend goes away? Will your brand suddenly feel dated because the trend is no longer in?
Right.
And those are the considerations and trying to find.
It took almost 30 years to become trendy again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it going to be trendy to do Futura? Yeah.
Hard to anticipate the trends, but it's more of a in the moment, what do we see everywhere? And if we launch the digital third brand, do we stand out amongst all of that, or do we blend in and then all the thoughts?
Also, just because we pick a type for the logo, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to use that type for the website, right?
100%.
So that's nice.
Yeah. And I know Brandon and I are pretty similar, and when we start pitching typography options for the logo lockups and word marks, we also try and take into account like what's the spectrum of this font family that we're using, and what weights and versions of it are in existence. Now, I think you did some exploration, Josh, on using sans serif and serif together.
Yeah.
And just going two completely different families. And that's always a route too. So.
Yeah, for the audience, I'll just show. I'm a huge fan of this Druck wide font, and then this is Tobias. And obviously using the Reloom components, it was perfect just to test them out. And honestly, like when you download the library kit and then you go to, definitely this is a plug, but I mean it's so well worth it. You go and actually, like, they have the whole design system built in, and you just edit the H1, H3s and all that, and it just applies to all the different layouts, which makes it so easy. So that was really cool. Okay. Yeah, anyways, I was trying to pair this bold, wide text, blocky text with this like strong, clean, skinny serif. And it just didn't work. Even like pairing this as a tagline and then this as the heading, or reverse it, it just didn't. I wasn't really feeling it. So yeah, I felt like it was one or the other. Okay, for the sake of just, I don't know, picking what works, I say we just pick this, and like Brandon loves it too. Pick the this Nike Futura font and pair it with with the circle and bar, and then just choose different variations of that.
On that already, I just created a big old empty frame at the bottom, and I'm kind of like doing a few lockups to see what
Sweet.
Some of these typography options look like.
Yeah, see, if you...
sorry guys.
if the bar of the spectrum is similar thickness to the letters, like that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
By the way, Josh, I just threw this in here, but I found this site the other day, and maybe you've seen it, but I Love Creatives.
Ooh.
I thought that this was a good use of a serif and a sans serif, like.
Okay.
Without, I don't know. I guess this is a little on the trendy vibe, but I still feel like it's done in a tasteful way.
Dang. See, I just want to use that. That's so nice.
I know, right? I sent it to Eric. It was like almost midnight, and I was like, Eric, look at this. Shoot. This might be something for digital third.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like the temptation to just follow what's trendy, and it may work now, but is it going to last long? And like, do I even want that? Like, even...
The one thing I do feel about this one though is that the balance and the combination of the serif and sans serif work really well here, where
I think where you're getting into like trendy territory potentially is like the little like
Yeah, the little
sunbursts
stars.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But like other than
Yep.
that, I felt like the edutainment and then online courses, like
Yeah.
that pairing works really well for like headings, and I don't know.
I love this.
So
all right, can we just use this as the template for our landing page? And that's it, right? Like we can still use this feature as the logo mark, but then use a serif and sans serif font pairing for the website here. This is really nice. Really like that.
while he's doing that, and maybe I'll start throwing like together what a web landing page. We'll see how far we can get.
Sure. Yeah, this is cool. I feel like that's like New Montreal looks very similar. Let's see here. Damien. Yeah, he agrees with the simple, keeping the logo simple. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Damien.
Out of the circle with the spectrum, do you get like lean towards more of the thicker approach or the thinner?
Probably the thicker. Oops. Yeah, it's similar. So I'd like to use New Montreal as the sans serif. Okay. Now the concern I have with the circle is like with this these bars, it just matches so well, like the lockup. But then with the circle, it's a little, those invisible lines don't match, right? So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and that's where like the doing dozens of variations of the same thing in different sizes and playing with the alignment of stuff starts coming into play.
It is almost wrapping up to the hour, and I want to respect your guys' time. And maybe we can just end the stream and keep going. I just want to let you guys
Yeah, I'm
know.
down for just a little bit more time. I got probably like 20 minutes or so before I need to log off for a bit.
Same. Yeah, I'm down to keep going.
Nice. Yeah, that's nice. It looks good in big type. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oops.
All right, well, I'll probably wrap up the stream. Guys, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. I am not planning to keep these streams on for a while. So how about this? If I get 100 subscribers by the end of the series, it'll probably be like a 5-part series. Then I will take it off. If I get 100, I'll leave it on. There's the draw to subscribe. Okay, with that, thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. Next stream will probably be next week on Wednesday. We are probably going to, if we don't finalize the logo, we'll work on a stylescape. And so if you guys don't know what a stylescape is, do I have an example here? No, not at the moment. But essentially, it's like a long landscape canvas, and it includes typography, the logo, colors, photography. It's just a mash of like all the major visual brand elements, and it's just a quick way to put it all together to see if it's cohesive. And yeah, we'll kind of do that, and they'll have some like web elements, buttons, sign up forms, things like that as well. So yeah, that'll be fun. And so if you guys are interested in putting that together and watching, let me know and subscribe. All right, without further ado, that's it for today. So thanks, Eric. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank
See
you.
guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey.